From the pitch to the sideline, the calls that shape the game. Welcome to Excellence in Action, the referee show here on Islandstats.com, where we dabble in the world of officiating, dissect the decisions, and celebrate the men and women in the middle. Join us each week as we chat with top officials, analyze controversial moments, and explore the challenges and triumphs of being a referee. Get inside perspective on the rules, the pressure, and the split-second judgments that can make or break a match. It's more than just whistles and flags, it's excellence in action. Now let's get to the show. Well, good afternoon and welcome to the first edition of the Excellence in Action for 2025-26. I'm your host, Earl Baisden, and joining me is none other than Mr. Anthony Francis and Mr. Tashawn Simons. Gentlemen, first of all, I want to say congratulations on being on the council of the Bermuda Football Association. You guys have put your hands up, not just as referees, but also as board members, which actually makes a big difference in our sport. Because without people like you, we will struggle to have matches played both in the boardroom and on the field. So thank you very much for your time there, Mr. Francis, as the president of the BRA, which is the Bermuda Referees Association. What ultimately give us a sense of where we're at as far as numbers wise and just what is needed.
Earl, thank you first of all for all your support over the years. Where we are is we're actually in a very good space for our future. We're currently at a critical standpoint where we do not have a lot of numbers, but we do have a very bright future. In fact, what you'll see this season is you'll see us starting to use a lot of our young referees who are probably anywhere in the range between 11 and 15, 16, 17. And so our future looks very bright. But as you know, as we say every year, we're at a critical stage right now, and we're going to probably need about 3 or 4 years for those young players and for those young referees to actually reach maturity so that we will have a great cadre of senior officials. But we are still getting it done with the numbers that we do have. Everybody has stepped up to the plate, and we were looking forward to a great season.
Yeah. Tashawn, for you, obviously a few years ago on the FIFA list, job-wise, things have come up. But getting back to that, how what are you doing to ensure you can get back to that standard? Because we all know that we have 3 others on the list, and one more will make it that much even more stronger.
First of all, Earl, thank you for having me. It's a labor of love, to be fair. It is hard because obviously my day job takes up a lot of my time. But I have spoken to the president, I'll speak to the referee committee, and we have a goal for potentially maybe appearance again in 2027. But we'll see what happens. The training has to be done first. And once I get to the fitness that I want to get to with the agreement that we have, me and the president, we will hopefully I have a nomination coming up for 2027 and see what happens.
Yeah. Now, our domestic game, and both of you can chime in on this. We're the standard, the level of play, a lot to be desired. The behavior, even more to be desired. How can we address this? And I'm not referring to any particular event or scenario that's taken place already. What I'm talking about, what I'm trying to address is the language on the field, the conduct of players towards each other. getting people just to understand within the lines of the game, because obviously we have to deal with the people on the outside, but we should be dealing with the ones on the inside the lines. How do we address this, man? How do we get to a better space?
And Earl, I'm gonna say this. I think that our football has been painted in a very negative light, simply because of some of the things that have occurred.
Mm-hmm.
But Earl, I'm going to tell you that the behavior that we might see in football is only representative of the behavior we see in wider society.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, football always gets pegged as the savior, and it's going to be very difficult for football in and of itself to fix what society isn't willing to address itself. I can tell you that it's always the rare odd occasion that gets highlighted in football. You can imagine having 18, 19 games a weekend and having them for 16 weeks, and one incident all of a sudden paints football as the bad thing. And it is not all of our players, and it is not all of our teams. And so if we're going to try and fix it, we as a society have to determine that, football is our national support, and our clubs and affiliates have to take a bigger stance in it, because the referees, we only adjudicate the game. We cannot adjudicate behavior that comes to us unless it falls within the bounds of the game. And if you're seeing stuff happening outside of football, how are we expecting football and, our referees, which now are young referees with, maybe 1 or 2 seasons of experience, to have to deal with what society itself doesn't want to deal with?
That's a valid point. What about protection of our referees and ensuring that, because you've indicated we have a lot of youngsters and even the veterans, that you guys are upholding the game because you're out there officiating, but the level of protection for our referees, how are we addressing that?
Oh, I love that question, Earl, because I get to highlight how great our players are. Our players have recognized that we have young officials out there. Our players are actually controlling themselves when they see our young officials. So I like to highlight that because they've recognized that without the young officials, the game doesn't get played. When you hear players controlling themselves and controlling their teammates when they're talking to younger players, that's impressive to me. And just at the wider game, we have very good security in many of our venues, and security has become a top priority. The BFA and the BRA have taken security very seriously. The clubs have begun to recognize that security has to be taken seriously, not just for the referees, but for the teams and for their spectators, so that the business of football can continue in a safe environment. So security-wise, I have to say, on the back of our security committee, they've been doing a great job of making sure that everybody at a football game is safe.
Yeah. We are joined by Dwight Jackson. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right,
We're
great.
just in the midst of talking about officiating here. Obviously, we've started the season off. There's been some new rules implemented. How are we getting the message across to teams and players that these new rules are now in place, Tashawn?
My pregame speech with the captains doesn't change. Ignorance of the law is not my problem, but I will guide you when it comes to a new amendment to the laws. So I will tell you, okay, well, look, guys, it's 8 seconds now. After 3 seconds, the referee put his hand up in the air and count down the 5 seconds. I will tell you that. But the players and the coaches have to do their own research sometimes. It shouldn't just fall on the officials. We have to know the game, we have to know the laws, so also they have to as well. But we can guide you. We can guide you to the new amendments and stuff like that, but we can't babysit you in knowing them either.
Dwight, let me get your opinion on a start of a new season. What in your mind when the season starts? What are you hoping to accomplish for the referees?
But you know what? First of all, I appreciate you having us. I'm sure everybody's going through this pleasantries or whatever. I appreciate it. But what I'm expecting is first and foremost is a better product. A better product on the field from the players themselves. I know that perhaps is a tall order on most occasions, because at heart I'm a football fan, and I want success for my country. I want success for the domestic game. The unfortunate thing is that I don't. I know we're working. I know we're working towards that, but I'll I'll just be kind and say perhaps it's just going to take a little more time. So what I'm expecting is a better product, but in the general context of it all, hey, just for everybody to play nice in the sandbox.
Understood. Francis, I know you're limited on time, but let me ask you, how do we encourage and keep encouraging these young folk that are coming out here, given their time to officiate? How do we encourage them to stay and then encourage others to come on board? Because officiating is tough.
I have to say that our youth committee and our referee committee and the BRA are doing a great job of the young people recruiting. They are coming. They're asking us when training is. They're asking us what do we have to do. So what's going on is the recruitment of the young referee is going very well. Of course, the issue is what do we do when they hit the 16, 17, 18, 19 years? And of course, we have this wonderful problem where, our young people are going away to school and our young people are spending a lot of time, being educated. Do we get them back? In a lot of cases, no, we don't. So what are we going to have to do to entice them is we're going to have to continue to make the game fun. We're going to have to continue to make it safe. We're going to have to continue to provide them with opportunities to travel and get experience overseas and internationally. And it is our hope that of the cadre that we have coming, that we can maintain, 40 to 45%. And that's a big tall order for them when we get to the senior level. And that's, 3-4 years away. So that's where we are. We do shows like yours just to put the word out that football is not as bad as it gets painted out to be. And that in some cases, it's a very enjoyable time. In other cases, that we, the referees and the clubs, have to work a little bit harder just to make it just a little bit more enjoyable. But, this season, Earl, you may know that we're now broadcasting all of our premiership games live on FIFA Plus. So, we're now being broadcast around the world. So now it becomes a larger onus on making, as the VP says, making the product better, because it is now, international. We are no longer just confined in the domestic league to Bermuda. We're now worldwide. So that has to begin to speak to what we as a society are going to do to enhance our national support from not just the international level, but also the domestic level.
Yeah. Dwight, I remember, back in our day when we used to battle, the referees were always short on numbers, as we are, not to this level that we are right now. But why is it so difficult to attract people to take up the whistle or take up the flag?
Well, you know what? I think in anticipation of this question, I remember I remember when I you first invited me on your show,
Mm,
and I believe a sentiment that I said, well, Earl, you have to have broad shoulders and thick skin.
mm,
And I I digress from that now because I mean no, it's a the society that we live in, and I want to be sober in saying this. It's a life or death situation that we Bermudians find ourselves in. Football is just a microcosm of it. So the difficulty in finding eligible or persons that's about purpose to come into the refereeing ranks becomes that much more difficult just because of the social ills that's going on in society that we don't even need to discuss in this particular form. So, um, what the answer is, I do not know. I've set my piece within our ranks, but until Bermuda as a country, or because I don't think the government can solve this particular issue that's bigger than football. Until we as a country realize, you know what, we have to do something that's radical, perhaps that can save lives, and then perhaps after that, we can find there's persons that we're looking for to come into our footballing ranks. Hopefully sooner rather than later.
mm. Francis, before you go, give us a sense of what the recruitment process has been for the BRA.
It has been word of mouth. It has been working with the BFA referee committee to build referee recruitment campaigns. It has been trying to get into the schools. It has been talking to teams. It's been talking to clubs. So it is, and as Jackson says, it's hard, um, because you have to be of a certain character. You have to have a certain competency. You have to have a love and passion for football that supersedes a casual once every 3 month sort of look. Our referees are out there, you know, once, twice, possibly three times a week, and that doesn't include training, and that doesn't include technical training. So it is a kind of it's greater than just a casual hobby. Being a referee is a profession, and being a good referee requires a lot of work and it requires a lot of study. And there, unfortunately, as Dwight says, our society isn't producing that level of character on a whole. So it's going to be very difficult to find if we take the small pool of people that love football and then get it down to the people that have the character and the competency to be a referee. You can tell how small that number is going to be. So this is where we are. Our youth are just shining brightly because they get to enjoy the young game as it is, in a very, very confined, limited boundary space. But we have to keep them because our domestic game, when it gets to senior level, has to continue to grow. That's going to be tough with the limited pool of persons that we have, much less the limited pool of people that love football.
Mm, mm. Well, I know you have to go, but I'm going to keep Dwight and Tashawn for a little longer.
Yeah,
Thanks for joining. Um,
appreciate it.
Tashawn, I've noticed, I've recognized when you were on the FIFA list, you were as a referee assistant, and I see you now more in the middle. Is that something that you've decided to change in, or or are you looking to get back on as a referee assistant?
Yeah, obviously I went on as AR first.
Hmm.
I always loved being in the middle. But because of my age at the time, the BFA really needed somebody to be on the list. So I put my hand up. I said, yeah, I will do it as an AR. But now that I'm surpassed 25, I'm like, well, I don't want to be an AR no more. I want to be a referee. So that's where I'm focused. That's where I want to be. So I love it in the middle. I love the atmosphere and stuff. Um, and I think it is one of those roles where people get to see your personality. You know,
Hmm.
as an AR, you're kind of that silent man or silent female on the side where you don't really interact with the players as much as you could. And being the man in the middle or the female in the middle, you get to show your personality a little bit more, who you actually are, and that's what I like about it. So yeah, I will be in the middle, more times than not, and that's where I'm working towards.
Mm. And we notice like whenever, well, and we have it coming up this week where Bermuda's hosting an international match, so there's an opportunity for you to have conversations with other FIFA officials, FIFA referees, and the ARs and so forth. What are those conversations like, amongst you guys when these guys come here? Because you've been on the list, so when you go to other countries, then that role's reversed, isn't it?
Yeah, refereeing. A lot of people don't realize that the referees are not just the man or woman that is running around the field. It's a fraternity. So it don't matter where you're from, what color you are. When you go to a different country or somebody comes to yours, everybody greets everybody as if we're family, right? Um, so you introduce yourself. How long you've been on the list or what you've done, this, that, and the other, and sometimes you have a little party after the games or whatever the case may be, where you get
Hmm.
to know each other, right? Obviously, Bermuda is a lot closer to the Caribbean than it is like the more Central America areas,
Hmm.
but um, it doesn't matter who comes here or wherever we go. Is always camaraderie at the end of the day. We always invite each other wherever, and you sit down and have conversations about football, about law amendments, the new teachings, whatever the case may be. But it's definitely a fraternity.
Mm. Dwight, back to you. You had a chance to do some officiating outside of Bermuda a few years ago. Um,
Yes.
what?
That I no, I was hoping that you was gonna give me an opportunity or whatever. But yeah, the I like to concur. Uh, it's the same situation on the other side of the pond.
Mhm.
Um, uh, referee. It is a fraternity. It's a family. Um, it's a lot of camaraderie. What I would like to highlight is that Tashan formerly being on the FIFA list and so on and so on. That's an opportunity for persons of a younger age, but there is also opportunities in people's golden years or at the other end of their careers or whatever, where if they still want to stay fit, if they still want to have a run around, and perhaps I'm gonna say still be amongst good football at a level where people want to progress on the other side of the point, i.e., England. There is also an opportunity for that too. So if we can find, since you did ask, if we can find a way where we can give persons that's at the end of their perhaps sporting career, if we can give them that opportunity, it is an opportunity to referee beyond Bermuda shores, and you don't have to go to the heights of being on the FIFA list or the like in the Caribbean. There is an opportunity for people to um, travel in that
Mhm.
regard.
Right. Okay. So your suggestion, order some incentive,
Definitely,
to yeah, yeah, which is, I
definitely,
mean.
because we would, as much as I I perhaps maybe last year I could have made in my twilight years, no, I could have probably made it. I can pass that test, but
Right.
they don't want a gray haired guy out on the field. That's not the Brandon they want. That's not the Brandon they want. They don't want that brand. But I'm just saying. But there's no discrimination in the UK like that. So I'm just saying, if you're still fit and you do have to pass the test, if you pass the test, then you're good to go.
Mm, mm.
You are good to go.
Yeah,
So yeah.
I was gonna ask you about the difference of level of or commitment that you would have recognized during your time over in the UK as opposed to Bermuda.
Well, are you talking about the players?
Players and officials.
Okay, so I'm gonna say the league that I would have been referring in, the players the players were perhaps more committed because they're looking, obviously they're in their cauldron of perhaps excellence or whatever, where they know that if they win their division, they can go up to the next league, and there's another league to go up to, and then there's another standard to achieve, and so on and so on. So um, the players are all about just playing football. What I find interesting, and then I'm going to get to the referees, but what I find interesting, I don't know if Tashan will concur with this, but when you are reffing a good football match and the players are just about playing football, your card distribution is extremely low.
Mm-hmm.
If you give out 2 yellow cards, that's probably too many.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, you could pick the burns out of that. But with regard to the referees that I was around, I guess I was I I was more fitter than them, and so I don't know. It was, hey, you just had to get in where you could. So as far as commitment, I mean, I guess it's anywhere. You have to put your time in, pay your dues, and then you establish yourself. But the amount of games that I was being put on from week to week or whatever, like you just build. It's all about just building a rapport,
Mm.
and people remember you, and they say, "Oh, that's the guy from Bermuda." And then obviously you bring a little gift. You bring a little gift for him,
Mhm.
and yeah, like make your friends before you need them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Tashan, let me ask you, you've been elected onto the council for the Bermuda Football Association. Um, what are you hoping, because you put your hand up, what are you hoping to accomplish on the inside of the Bermuda Football Association that you saw from the outside, that why you put your hand up?
Um, Firstly, I think that although we have a voice inside the executive already, I think the referees themselves need more of a voice in that room, right around that table.
Mhm.
And reason being is because we, as the BRA, we heard certain things from referees and different, I wouldn't want to say complaints, but grievances, I guess you could call them, from the referees. And if those things are not being addressed at the table with the BFA, then we really don't have a voice. So my thing is to, one, be a voice for the referees, and also, just get in that arena, see what it's like, see if it's something that I actually like, and you never know, I might like it too much, and say bye bye referee association. But for right now, I definitely want to be a voice for the referees, because we need it. The abuse that's out on the field, we need to stamp it out of the game, because like we've been saying for years upon years, probably before I even started, the abuse is the biggest issue when it comes to recruiting referees.
Mhm.
That's number one, and then number two is another issue that Mr. Jackson will definitely concur with. But that's the biggest issue for us, is the abuse, and then recruiting the younger guys and girls
Mhm.
will come afterwards once the abuse is stamped out.
Mhm. Okay, all right. Um, anything you want to add, Mr. Jackson?
Yeah, I want to congratulate publicly Tashan for being voted in. He wasn't just put in; he was voted in. So I want to congratulate him on that. Somebody saw something in him of value to be hopefully an agent of change. Um, my my desire, my desire, and I'm not trying to put any undue pressure on the young man, but my desire is that um, he would uh, put his efforts into just making our product that much better.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I think with there should be a good mix of personality and demographic in that cadre of persons where it's young and old. There's persons that have been there for an extremely long time, and then you have people that there now that may or should have new ideas and how we can make football better.
Okay. All right. Anything you want to part with, Sean?
Um, anything I want to obviously say that thank you for having us, Earl.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's been a long time since I've been on this show, but it's nice to be back here in this space. You know, we could answer questions that some people may want to ask us, but don't have the access to access. Um, Also, thank you, Mr. Jackson, for congratulating me, of course. But hopefully, the in this upcoming season or this season that just started, that the players, the coaches, the fans will see a difference in the way that we play football.
You still there? I think he dropped out. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Jackson, for joining, as well as to Sean and Mr. Francis. Good luck to you guys this season. I want to encourage you guys to keep up the good work.
I appreciate you.
Yes, yeah, and we look to have you on another time just to give an update on the season thus far. Well, before you go, Mr. Jackson, let me ask you, what's your thoughts on the state of your former club, Hamilton Parish, right now?
But you know what? Hey, it is what it is. I, I will not say anything disparaging. I will just say that I commend the young men that actually took to the field
Mm-hmm.
and they played the entire 90 minutes.
Yes.
I think that's perhaps the best positive that I can um, express at this particular time, and I'll just leave it right there.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm hoping that they can last the entire season, get themselves
Sure.
together the off season, and then come back because we need Hamilton Parish. We need all the clubs that we
Yep.
have to stay involved. We've seen clubs already over the last few years drop out, and we can't have
Yep.
we can't have that. We just need just hang in there, fight this season as much as you can. I'll even go back to the times when Social Club and Island Rangers, remember they're conceding over 100 goals a season, for
Okay.
many seasons,
Yep.
So,
Yep.
and then
Yep.
and both of them now, while you had Social Club, you have Social Club in the Premier Division. For Island Rangers made it to the Premier Division, so there's always hope. You might hit rock bottom, but that's not the reason to give up.
Most definitely, and I feel that things life goes in cycles. Um, it's my turn today, but it'll be somebody else's turn tomorrow.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Well,
Sure.
thank you very much for joining, sir. And
No
folks,
problem, man. I appreciate you, man.
yes, indeed. We'll be back next Monday with another edition of Excellence in Action, Islandstats and Bermuda Football Association's referee show. Thanks for joining.